What's shaking, everybody? My name is Ross Mandell. I'm coming to you guys live today from Delray Beach, Florida, Scott Woolley Studios. I've been very selfish this week because I'm bringing you a man that I want to talk to because he rules the kind of world that I like to live in. This is all about Ross today. And I'm bringing this to you guys because this guy is at the top of the food chain. You want to live a longer, healthier life, then you got to pay attention to what Mr. Jay Campbell has to say.
Ross, what's going on, my brother?
It's so great to meet you. I'm so excited. Yesterday we had Dr. Nathan, a friend of yours.
Yes, sir.
Also longevity, also living a better life. We all get old and we all die. You don't have to suffer.
Correct.
Quality of life. And this is what you do, Jay. Bio Longevity Labs. Boy, that's a very cool shirt. I would love one. I'm an extra large. And tell us what it's about in a nutshell.
Yeah, so Bio Longevity Labs is a company that me and a couple other guys founded in November of 2024. And it's really, honestly, Ross, to basically teach the world how to become what I like to say sovereign, empowered, and free in using hormones, in using peptides, and using bioregulators, and using, call it bleeding edge, tip of the spear, small molecules. And as I was telling you off air, we intend to become the Amazon of biohacking. We want to give not just the United States or Canada, but the entire world the opportunity to purchase the best quality peptides, bioregulators, and again, call them small molecule bleeding edge supplements at an affordable price, much cheaper than obviously what Big Pharma charges most people in the world. And I think you know this, that we've gotten to a world now where it's basically the haves and the have-nots. Most people who do know about this stuff, which is still a fringe thing, can't afford a script from a pharmacy or their doctor because it's so expensive because, as you know, Big Pharma gouges people in America. So we really bring a company with products that is way cheaper, but at the absolute still, call it pharmaceutical grade quality products. But at the end of the day, the consumer has to understand how to use them versus the doctor giving it to them ready to use, right? So obviously our company sells research chemicals. When people look at it, it's totally legal. But the consumer or the end user really has to understand how to use them, how to reconstitute the peptide, how to dose the small molecule or the supplement or even the bioregulator. Because as a research company or as a research provider, we're not allowed to actually provide medical advice. So when they purchase from us, they have to understand that there's other avenues of information available to them so that they can find it and learn how to use it too. But again, it's much cheaper. I would say it's somewhere between 1/7 and 1/10 the cost of pharma. So a lot of people now, especially in today's day and age, are choosing to do it themselves versus going through their doctor because, you and I both know the debacle that happened from 2020 to 2023 with COVID. There's a lot of people out there that don't trust their physicians anymore.
Unfortunately, the physicians don't trust themselves anymore.
That's true too.
They just don't know.
Exactly.
That's my experience. And I just want to say, I understood everything you said and I love the messaging. However, the average Joe, these are like friends of mine.
Right.
They look at me like, I'm going to go ask my doctor.
Yep.
People are programmed.
They are.
And they've been programmed for, a century. More.
Without a doubt. My doctor said.
Right. My doctor said, like he's God.
The lab coat God, that's what I call him.
And I think that 100 years ago, maybe even 50 years ago, that had real merit.
Sure.
But I want to break everything down into very simple and understandable words, really.
Sure. Because
I think the only thing that the average person would understand from that narrative that you delivered so eloquently, I want to say, is that Big Pharma is a scam.
Yeah, yeah.
And what they did to us during COVID was just inexcusable.
Still doing it, right?
They're still doing it.
They're out there telling people to go get vaccinated.
It's disgusting.
And any of the doctors that are behind it are also disgusting. And I say that all the time at this point. There's no denying there's scientific peer review evidence that proves that the vaccine causes inflammation, causes autoimmune disease. You and I, we could talk about that all day.
My hands are numb.
Yeah.
I was in prison and they forced me to get a vaccine shot.
It's insane, man.
And then 2 days after I got the Johnson & Johnson shot, they took it off the market. because people were dying, blood clots,
Yeah, of course.
all these different things. I want the audience to know who you are, and I want to know who is Jay Campbell. So how old a guy are you?
So I'm 54.
I just want the audience to know he's a beautiful looking man. I mean, he looks great for an 18-year-old high school stud. I mean, you really look. I'm shocked.
Thank you, my
54.
friend. I appreciate it.
I mean, you're
I
like
practice what I preach.
you're a walking billboard. Really, I'm very impressed. 54. What? So you were born in
71.
1971. Okay. And tell us where you were born, raised, what life was like for a young Jay Campbell.
For sure. So I was born as the oldest of 9 children. My mom actually gave birth to 10. The first one died of SIDS, which I'm sure you probably know. There's actually physicians that can prove this, and a lot of people out there, no conspiracy, and this is not woo, this is true. SIDS is actually death by vaccine. Now, they were never going to admit that.
Never.
The medical system will cover it up forever, but sudden infant death syndrome is absolutely vaccine related. And my older brother, technically,
Right.
Died of SIDS, and I came out. His name was Christopher J, and they named me Jay Christopher. And I feel, Ross, that I was like an avenging angel, if you want to call me, to teach people that vaccines are evil. I don't want to make this podcast about vaccines, but later in my life, and when I was in my 20s, I had my first chiropractor that I ever worked with handed me a book that was called The Sanctity of Human Blood. And he didn't even know me. I had done one session with him, and he said, something told me today to give you this book. And this is when I was 24 years old, and I was living in Southern California, and we'll go back to my life story in a second. But he handed it to me, and I was like, why are you giving this to me? And he's like, my intuition said to get this book. So anyway, I read the book. And the book was written in like 1986 or 85 or 87. It was one of those years. And it was the world's leading pathologists. And they all got together and they wrote a book to say that all vaccines were evil and that there was no scientific evidence that they did anything.
Well, so that's not true.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
let me tell you what they did.
Yeah.
They made people billions of dollars.
Exactly.
That's what they did.
Yeah, exactly. And if you look at because people will always argue and they'll talk about how, the Salk polio vaccine, it saved people from polio. That's not true. If you actually look at the evidence, the Salk vaccine killed more people probably than it ever did. And we now know too, because again, you can go back and you can research this, but it was really improved hygiene, which was what stopped people from having all that stuff. But anyway, bottom line is—
Wash your hands is the best vaccine.
Exactly. I read the book and I became this person that told everybody that I knew, going back into the 90s, don't allow your kids to get vaccinated. So I probably saved— I would say at this point now, thousands of children, and I lived in California, so it was mostly in California. And then as I became more influential and met more
where
people—
were you born?
I was born in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay.
But I lived there as the oldest of 9, and my dad moved us. My father was in the newspaper industry, but he moved us around. I was in 5 states and 5 high schools in 4 years.
What is going on? It's so what a tough way to grow up.
But was, at the time I didn't like my dad for it because I was always the new guy in a new school, and I was an athlete.
How do you make friends and all these? How do you can't be an athlete,
I left friends and I left girlfriends behind. But in truth, I look at it, it was a blessing because now in my life it allowed me to build relationships with people, allowed me to understand cultures and different forms of people and all that stuff and different ethnicities and all that stuff. So I look back on it now very fondly, but at the time it was hard. It was definitely brutal, but I was an athlete. So I played basketball, I played baseball, and I played soccer in high school. And I ended up
for 5 high schools. That's the problem.
Exactly.
You don't get a chance to really,
It was very hard. In my junior year in Ohio, I was all-state. I was second team all-state, and then I got moved.
What sport?
To Atlanta in basketball.
Wow.
So, and then I moved to Atlanta, Georgia for half of my senior year, and then the other half, ironically, I moved down to Clearwater, Florida. But anyway, I played basketball in college at an NAIA school that eventually ended up becoming Division II, and now it's a Division I school long ago. It's called Georgia Southwestern in Americus, Georgia, which is where Jimmy Carter's from.
Wow.
That's a claim to fame. But anyway, I played there from 1991 to 93, graduated from college, moved out to California, and then I just basically I started working in marketing, advertising. I actually worked for the Los Angeles Times. And how I got into all this was I was 29 and I was playing an adult men's basketball league. I got kicked in the testicles in a game, checked out, keeled over. And about 3, 4, 5 weeks later, this is going back to when I was 29 years old, started feeling run down. And at that point, I went to a PPO doctor through my insurance at the LA Times when there was actual real insurance. And he... And I like to say this, Ross, all the time. There's no coincidences, only synchronicities. But he referred me to an endocrinologist who happened to be a world-renowned, Harvard-trained guy outside of Pasadena, which is where I lived in California. And I went to him and he took my labs and he said, look, man, you have the blood markers or the biomarkers of a geriatric man.
What?
I can absolutely. And again, he explained to me.
Not related to the kick in the testicles.
He assumed at that time that it was what would be called class 2 hypogonadism, which could be environmental, which could have been from that. But he basically told me that he could put me on therapeutic testosterone. Now, this is in 1999, and he would have me 1999.
9.
Yeah, so he could basically have me, as he said, right as rain in 6 to 8 weeks. But to go home and talk to at the time, she was my original, my first wife, going way back. Shout out to Kelly. But she was my fiance at the time. And he said, confirm with her that you're okay with this. And so I did. And, we didn't have kids or anything at the time. And I was literally like 2 months from turning 30. And so I went on therapeutic testosterone. And just as he said, about 6 to 8 weeks later, I started feeling absolutely amazing.
I get that. I had the same experience. I had the same thing.
And so at that point, because of my age and because it was such a novel new thing, he said, oh, look, I'll go ahead and take you off now and I'll put you on HCG. And I was like, whoa, you're not taking me off this. This is life-altering.
Right.
So from that point forward, I just became this incredible student of this. I read as much as I could.
What was he giving you? Was he giving you 1 cc of cypionate?
So he was absolutely giving me testosterone cypionate, and it was 2 shots a week. So, I mean, even then, he was super advanced, right? Because back then, most of the times, guys just got 1 shot a week. But it was about 175 milligrams total a week. So it was like 2 shots of 85 or 90 milligrams.
Okay. Boy, very aggressive.
Yeah, no, and he was very, very smart. Like I said, he was very, very well trained and understood endocrinology better than most endocrinologists. And also he understood how to, prescribe therapeutic hormones. But beyond that, I then became this, again, voracious student of hormones. And at the same time that I was becoming a student of hormones, this is going back now to 2000, 2001, peptides came into the world, right? So 2004 is when ipamorelin, or when I was initiated or introduced to ipamorelin. And I think you remember this, but back then there was no internet. The internet was underground bodybuilding forums.
Correct.
Right? Like news, net news, miscellaneous fitness weights, all these places. Prodigy, CompuServe had user groups. And so I started talking and interacting with people then, and there was no books. The only book that was written was in 2005, and that was Nelson Virgil's book, which is Testosterone, A Man's Guide. And then Nelson also wrote another book with Dr. Michael Mooney, which was called Built to Survive, which was an actual guide for guys that had HIV. Because back then, if you got HIV diagnosis, it was a death sentence. So those guys were using all sorts of stuff. Growth.
We're giving them growth and test.
Exactly, growth,
they were deteriorating to 0.
100%.
And it worked. I know guys that put on 20 pounds in the hospital.
100% it worked. So those guys became kind of like confidants, people that I would speak with via email or via these underground forums. And eventually, 10 years later, and obviously I built an amazing physique, my inner circle or friends would be like, Jay, you know so much about testosterone, you got to write a book about this, right? And when I would speak to people before I wrote the first book, it would always be like, they'd ask me like, how do you look so good? I'd be like, oh, I use therapeutic testosterone. And instantly it would be like, oh, you're on steroids. Or it would be the smart people would say, that's fascinating, tell me more.
Correct.
Right? You remember these days.
Right.
So eventually the fascinating tell me more people won out and they convinced me to write a book. Now this is going back to 2012, 2013. At that time I was working, I'd left my advertising and marketing background and I was working in real estate with my current wife. We had met on Match.com. I was still in Southern California. So
how many times have you been married?
She's my third wife, and we've been married for 13 years. The first wife was literally a year. Second wife was 9.5 years. I had my 2 children with her, and now my current wife is the longest and strongest, and she's she's my greatest blessing. She's been 13 years now. So, but we were just living together.
So you've been married like 23 years to 3 women.
3 women, correct.
I love when I meet guys. They say, I say, you married? Yeah. He goes, married 35 years. 6 girls.
I've written some very large checks. Let's just put it that way.
I can't even imagine.
My first wife got a very large check. My second wife pretty much almost bankrupted me, so that's a pretty amazing story. But my current wife now, when I met her, she was a successful real estate agent in Southern California, and I was a marketing ninja from the digital automotive space because I had worked for Edmunds, Auto Trader, KBB, right? So all the big automotive websites, and I understood digital marketing pretty well.
So that's one of your strengths, digital marketing.
Digital marketing is definitely my base strength, but when I met her, she had no marketing background or expertise and was just a really successful realtor. And so, and by the way, we met on Match.com, and this is back in 2012.
You met on Match.com?
We met on Match.com. And this is in 2012.
What about your second wife? Where'd you meet her?
Second wife, she was I just call it a fitness model. Very beautiful girl. She was French Vietnamese. And again, she gave me my 2 beautiful daughters right now. So thankfully for that. But at that time in my life, I was in lust. I was also.
Would you meet her at the gym?
I didn't meet her at the gym. I met her in Las Vegas at a convention.
Okay.
And it was
like the Arnold or the Olympia.
Yeah, it wasn't even a fitness convention. It was a work convention. She was there for her work and I was there for my work. And it just eventually, she actually lived in Florida at the time, and I still lived in Southern California. And I was at the very tail end of my marriage with my first wife.
She's French Vietnamese.
She's French Vietnamese.
And you have 2 children.
I do have 2 children.
They're very exotic looking
yes,
children.
They're very beautiful girls. They're Happer girls, as we would call them. So they're half Asian, half white. And they're 15 and 17 now, and they're awesome kids. And my current wife, Monica, really raised them, because my ex-wife is, I don't want to say this now because she's done a much better job, but at the time she was a Disneyland mom. You know what I mean?
I do.
She just wasn't there.
I get it.
And I understand for her, to her credit, she was attempting to re-engineer her life, and she just wasn't cut out to be a mom, because of when we weren't together, she had a lot of other issues she had to handle. So without getting into the weeds.
But it's funny because I also have 2 daughters. I love asking these questions.
Yeah,
I only
great.
have now 1 ex-wife, and I don't know how anybody has more than 1, because I can't handle 1 ex-wife and my 2 daughters. I'm overwhelmed. I can't imagine having like a whole, it's too much.
My first wife was very, very amicable. And like I said, I wrote her a very large check. So
how old when you got married? You had to be a kid.
I was 29. No. I actually, we were living together from 28, but I didn't get physically married until I was 30. So it actually was like 8 months after I started therapeutic testosterone, we got married.
You're probably chasing around the house.
Yeah, I mean, the real main reason that we divorced is she didn't want children, and I really actually did.
That's a big deal. I'll tell you a quick story about
Sure.
this. So I was in my 40s first time I tried testosterone.
Yeah.
And I had been a power lifter when I was a kid. I was a bodybuilder, I was a wrestler. I got into MMA. I was a pretty strong kid.
Yeah.
And without any juice.
Sure.
And so I had a surgical procedure, and the surgeon gave my wife this stuff to rub on my shoulders to help me heal.
Right.
Because they gave me some experimental Merc drug. What a shot!
Sure.
And I was like, I was in Disney. I was living in Trump Tower. I was like, I couldn't even focus my brain. And then I'm like, what are you putting on my back? That smell? And it was gel.
Yeah.
Test gel.
The test gel.
And then like 3 days later, I started to feel really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
it's funny.
And I'll never forget. I called the doctor. Said, "You got me on steroids? What are you kidding me?" I read the label for I couldn't read. I couldn't focus my eyes. And I'm like, "You kidding me? You put me on steroids?" And he goes, "Calm down, calm down." I said, "Bro, I'm clean." He says, "Listen, I'm a surgeon.
Right.
Every doctor's on it.
Right.
This is going to help you heal. This is a good thing.
Right.
This is a good thing. Just give it a chance." And I'll never forget the first day I went back to the office. She puts it on me, and by now I'm like, "Give me a little more." I put on my suit. I take a shower. I put on my suit, and I feel great.
Yeah.
And I get in the elevator. I'm living in Trump World Tower, and a very famous black singer.
Yeah.
Very pretty girl.
Yeah.
She gets in the elevator with me, and while I'm waiting for the elevator, I start whistling. I haven't whistled since I'm friggin'. I don't know if I ever whistled. I'm gonna be honest with you. This is a very true story.
Sure.
And I'm looking at this woman in the elevator, and I'm like, aroused.
Of course.
It was crazy. And then I'll never forget, I got into the injectable almost immediately after.
Yeah, yeah.
And my wife at one point said to me, Stephanie, my ex-wife, she says, I didn't marry this.
Right, right.
I'm chasing around the house.
Yeah.
So fellas, pay attention.
Well, it's important. It's funny you say that, because when I talk and go on podcasts nowadays, like I always, obviously, I'm just like you. I'm an advocate for this stuff, but I never advocate for one person. Couples should be on this. Women should be on testosterone just as much as men. There's absolutely zero reason.
Not estrogen or progesterone?
Well, they can be. It's, again, obviously, depending on if they have biomarkers to indicate it. But most women, even perimenopause and premenopause, could use a very microdose of testosterone.
I get that. Jay,
100%.
I'm in heaven that we're talking today.
Yeah.
This is God wanted you here today.
It's awesome, man. Yeah.
But
I mean, I talk about this all the time on social media now. I mean, most physicians that prescribe hormones to women do it wrong, because they don't give them testosterone. They give them estrogen
Correct.
and they give them progesterone.
Right.
And they don't understand that testosterone in a perimenopausal or postmenopausal woman will cleave, as you know, because testosterone cleaves into estradiol, which becomes estrogen.
Correct.
So if you give them enough, they will have a healthy level of estrogen.
They'll produce their own.
Exactly.
The body's self-healing.
And 100%. And they will have just as good a sex drive as they had in their 20s and 30s.
They
will not be dry.
Ladies.
Yeah, they will not be dry vaginally. I mean, it just, as you know, medicine is for the most part quackery. They do not understand hormones. They do not understand how to administer hormones. And so many women, even more so than men nowadays, are left behind because they don't have physicians that understand how to give them testosterone.
It's just bordering on criminal.
Women need testosterone as much as men, not the dosage, but the frequency of the delivery and a microdose, and they can get by and do just as well as men.
Because then their body will produce the hormones they need.
Exactly.
That's the part you gotta stress.
100%.
You know, I don't want to look like a man. You're not going to look like a man.
No, impossible. And you know, all the women that think that lifting weights is going to make them bulky or something like that, it's
Ridiculous.
impossible. They would need a man's dosage of testosterone for 2 years.
The ignorance is astounding. It really is astounding to me.
Is, man.
It's crazy.
It's sad, really.
And I stopped arguing with people. Even some of my closest friends.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I got to go ask my doctor.
Yeah.
The doctor's 75 years old.
Knows nothing.
Nothing. I mean,
wouldn't even know how to measure testosterone.
He knows how to tell his office to bill you.
Exactly.
He knows how to milk the insurance.
Yes,
That's what they know.
They know the diagnostic codes.
That's
It's exactly true. I mean, I say this all the time. If you go to a primary care doctor, a family doctor, the people that you and I are talking about right now, and you say, Doc, I need my testosterone measured, they won't even measure your free testosterone.
It's extra money. It's a hassle. I got to clear it with the insurance company. I just had that done. I forced my doctor, and he, checked me out, whatever. I'm 68 years old, coming off 112-month federal prison in custody with nothing.
Insane.
And so he prescribes testosterone now. But it was like I got to twist his arm.
Yeah.
Like it's like dangerous. I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
They don't know any of it. They're not. They don't learn.
And people say to me, what are the side effects? I said, you know what the side effects are? If you don't take it, you're going to grow old, you're going to get brittle, and you're going to die young, and you're going to have a shit life.
That's 100%. And I'll add to this. If this is done correctly, there are no side effects. The side effects are better brain power.
Correct.
Better sexual function. Better increased dopamine signaling, more cognition,
muscularity,
yes,
everything,
energy, endurance, better
fat burning,
exactly.
lung capacity. I mean, we go on and on and on. Yeah. Your skin, all of a sudden, your skin is like you're young again.
100%. People ask me what is the strongest nootropic in the world, right? Because they're always wanting peptides for the brain, or supplements for the brain. I always say therapeutic testosterone.
Do you say that? Yeah,
100%.
I get it.
Because there's thousands of clinical studies that show that it improves both short and long-term memory and massively improves dopamine signaling. In fact, that's the first thing that somebody who goes on therapeutic testosterone notices is improved mood.
Correct. I was whistling.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
I was whistling.
Exactly.
What the hell?
And it's sad, Ross, because think of how many, and again, this isn't thousands or hundreds of thousands, this is millions and probably hundreds of millions of men who have been prescribed SSRIs instead of testosterone, because they were depressed, or they were fat, or they had low energy, and all it was their hormones were off.
Exactly right.
Yeah,
it's all about your body chemistry.
Exactly.
That's what aging really is. I learned that.
True story. A very famous surgeon that I'm not allowed to mention because he gets mad when I bring him up, but you actually know who this guy is, and he mentored me at one time, and he said to me, Jay, if growth hormone and metformin were in the water supply, this is in 2013, there would be no hospitals.
I believe that. I feel like growth hormone is what Ponce de Leon was looking for. Looking for a good anti-aging clinic. He came to Florida.
Yeah, I mean, if you suppress blood sugar, improve insulin sensitivity, which obviously metformin does, and you use growth hormone along with therapeutic testosterone, you'll never be sick.
Tell us about metformin, because I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, so metformin. So I've written an article, and I'm happy to link to this in the show notes. But I've written an article that's over 10,000 words, and it was written in 2019. It's cited on Harvard and EDU. It's considered a research publication on all the merits of metformin. And metformin is, for most people listening to this podcast, they think it's a type 2 diabetic's drug, right? Because again, it does this amazing job of suppressing blood glucose, improving insulin sensitivity. But Ross, what really makes it amazing as an anti-aging or longevity drug is that it upregulates what is called Akkermansia mucilus in the microbiome, so the gut. And when you have a lot of Akkermansia, you cannot get sick. It will make you impervious to pathogens, virulent agents, bioweapons, weapons. In fact, there are studies out there that people who were using metformin, and I was one of them, never got COVID at all, right? And they traveled all around the world. They were exposed to the spike protein. They were exposed to people that had COVID. They're exposed to people who were heavily vaccinated. And again, it's because it creates this amazing layer of the microbiome that makes you impervious. So for people like me and you who want to live longer and stronger, if you take metformin, it's just going to give you this extra power to regulate carbohydrate consumption, improve blood glucose signaling, and of course, improve insulin sensitivity. And I think you know this. All the stats show that you will live longer and stronger by being lean. So the leaner you are as you age, the longer you will live. That is statistically proven. And how do we live longer? By reducing inflammation and improving our insulin or not having insulin resistance. So again, metformin prevents insulin resistance. Obviously, you got to eat right and live the lifestyle. Testosterone improves, as you said, lipolysis, which improves fat burning, and growth hormone improves everything else, right? IGF production, skin sensitivity, cell sensitivity. I mean, it does so many amazing things. So I like to say, I call it the God stack: metformin, testosterone, growth hormone, again, all micro dosages of each of them, and then probably desiccated thyroid to slightly alter or modify, increase the thyroid function, because obviously thyroid is important as we get older too, because it's the master temperature gland and regulator of the body. But those four things, if a man or woman is using those as they get older, they're going to definitely slow their aging process. 100%.
How do you get metformin? That's a
doctor who understands longevity, which, as you know, are not many. There's enough.
Very few.
Will write you a script. But thankfully, at this day and age now, metformin is off-label. We do. We sell it. We absolutely do sell it.
It's a compound pharmacy type thing, yeah?
So it's not, so again, we're a research company.
I get it. I understand all that.
So where we are now today is because metformin is off-label from a patent standpoint.
Got it.
Pharma can't make any money on it. So there's tons of people out there that are now putting it in supplement bottles. We actually have a product coming, which you're the first person to know this. It's going to be called BioAbsorb. It has metformin, dihydroberberine, and B vitamins, so that any person, inflamed, fat, sick, or people like me and you can use it, and it's a very micro dose of each one, so you can kind of titrate up or down based on your level of inflammation.
Is it injectable or is it a tablet?
No, it's a swallowable capsule.
A little capsule. Wow, I love this. I had an Uncle Lewis fight. He was a surgeon, a very famous Park Avenue surgeon.
Nice.
He passed away a long time ago. And he was the rich uncle. Had a big apartment, a huge apartment on Park Avenue.
Nice.
And he had a big summer house on the beach on Long Island, on the water.
Right.
With a dock and everything.
Sure.
And he was very smart. My Uncle Lou. So we would, during the holidays, they would have them over. My Aunt Bunny, she was a Broadway star, starlet. And he saw her in a show, and he got her and retired her from a career in movies and the theater. Nice. She's a beautiful woman.
Awesome.
My grandmother's baby sister. And someone asked my Uncle Lou, what's the secret to living a long, happy life? I'll never forget this. I was about 15.
Sure.
So you're talking about 50 years ago.
Yeah.
And he said, look around. Like, he was very, arrogant.
Yeah.
Look around. You ever see any old, fat people?
Exactly.
None.
It's totally true.
You got to be thin. This kid, I weighed 130 pounds his whole life.
That's totally true. That's absolutely undisputable. I say this to a lot of people. Indisputable is the right word I should have said. But people want to argue. People want to argue with you about leanness. And as you know, they conflate
lean is different than skinny.
Well, exactly. Skinny fat is inflamed.
I'm looking at you.
Yes.
You walked in, and I didn't know what to expect. And I know you were a fitness guy before you.
Right.
Discovered this world, and I knew you were going to be a well-built guy. Didn't know your age, and I'm blown away by your muscularity.
Thank you, man.
You're so lean, but no one would ever say you're skinny.
Right. So
no one would even say you're thin. They would say you're really well built.
So that's what's important.
But you're lean and muscular.
Thank you. And let's unpack that and break that down, because the leaner you are, the more muscular you have to be. right? So it's like if you're 60, 50, 45, 70, 68, and you're lean, you're automatically going to be muscular.
Well, no, I know a lot of people that have that fat, skinny, and women.
Yeah, but they're not lean. They're skinny fat.
So the lean is very different. We have to unpack the word lean.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, so just because you're skinny doesn't mean you're lean.
Right.
Right. So a lean person, and again, let's just define it as somebody who has a body fat. And by the way, people ask me this all the time, and I give them
like
this.
The BMI measure?
Similar. BMI is kind of off nowadays because we have so much obesity in American society, as you know. So by the way, statistically, 72% of men and women over the age of 40 are obese.
Say that again?
72% of men and women over the age of 40 are obese in the United States.
Oh my God.
So yeah, so I mean, it's a bad situation. But to when people ask, what should a man be from a body fat percentage standpoint? What should a woman be from a body fat standpoint? So if you want to live longer and stronger, and again, statistically proven, you want to remain 12 to 15% body fat as a man.
Right.
And that's year round. And as a woman, again, because women have maternal fat.
Naturally carrying
They
more
have
fat.
much more fat for, and again, it's evolutionary biology. It's for raising children or having children. A woman wants to be somewhere between 17 and 22%. So that is healthy.
I got it.
But no one, I shouldn't say no one, a small percentage of people, as you know now, are that level, right? Like people like us now are mutants. When you go to the beach, and by the way, my wife and I are staying at this hotel. We came here yesterday, we flew down from Tampa, and we're staying at the desert, or what is it called? The Delray Sands. It's a nice little resort there on the water.
Yeah, I know it.
And we went out in the afternoon yesterday to get a little bit of sun. And all the people at the pool, my wife is just as lean and just as muscular as me. They stare at you. You're like,
right.
And you know this. It used to be like people would be like, wow, you know, and they would come up to you and say, what do you do? But nowadays you're looked at as like you're a mutant.
Well, I think they admire you. They admire you.
They may.
Bro, let me just say like this.
It's different.
Let me just say like this.
It's different.
You're not a kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some would say you can't even say you're middle-aged anymore.
Right. Right.
Unless you're going to lift 108.
Right.
You know what I mean? 54 years old. When I was younger, 54 was like an old man.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like a grandfather.
Yeah. Exactly.
I wouldn't be surprised if you said, well, you're not a grandfather yet. You know what I'm saying? You could have been, 54.
Yeah.
I'm
Totally
68
true.
and I'm not a grandfather. I want to be. I have two daughters,
Right.
25 and 21.
Right.
And
Well, that means they're coming. They're coming.
I'm praying. I say, girls get busy. They say, you're my father. Daddy.
They're prime.
They're not even married. They're like, Daddy. I'm like, come on, get busy. Right. I mean, it's crazy. I want to be a grandfather. I can't wait. But I just want to say, so people look at you and they don't know what to make of you if they see you by the pool, because you're like, I know he's not 25.
Right.
He's probably not 35 because you got a lot of gray in your little goatee there.
Yeah.
I don't know if the camera's picking all that up. You can touch of gray,
salt and pepper.
Yeah, in the hair, with lack of hair. But, so I sense that you probably move, and the way you carry yourself is like you're a man.
Right.
But nobody's going to look at you in a bathing suit, let's say, or a pair of shorts with no shirt on and say you're in your 50s, bro.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you're confusing to people.
Yeah.
You're a little bit odd.
That's probably a good point.
But in a good way.
Yeah, I appreciate
people
that.
People admire that.
Right.
Listen to me. I used to look great too.
Yeah.
When I was young, and it's you're proud of it. It's a good thing. But I wasn't going for lean. I'm like I'm the typical man. Bench press, 405 pounds, squatting, 455. I want more.
Right.
I was 220, 230, 5'9".
Wow. That's big.
It was crazy.
Yeah, that's massive.
Now I just want to get lean. I get it now. I'm older. I don't want to carry that kind of weight.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Thankfully, I avoided that. I mean, the heaviest I ever was when I was in my gaming
How tall are you?
size. I'm 6'2", but I'm probably shrinking now, right? I'm probably like 6'1 3/4" or 6'1 and a half. But the biggest I ever was when I was actually pursuing getting bigger was like 226. Like right now I'm 209. And my body fat is probably 7 or 8%. And by the way, I do keep this body fat like this year round because as you know, I'm a master of all these different technologies, call them peptides, GLPs, all that. We can talk about that.
I want to hear about your regimen.
No, for sure. I'll tell you. But I wasn't always this lean.
Or this knowledgeable.
Of course.
I mean, you are where you're at now.
I mean, it's evolution. You're studying, you're learning, you're experimenting.
Not everybody. I have
not enough
friends, they're multimillionaires, smart guys, successful Wall Street guys. and they approach everything with caution. Everything's a scam. You know, it has to come from the doctor. I'm like, bro, you got to be kidding me.
It's totally true.
Your doctors are dope.
You know what's hilarious is I think and you already know this from researching me, but I think I represent the guy to those people who actually go out on a limb and are not scared to ask, like, hey, I want to do this. Like, I'm past the doctor now. I don't give a shit.
Right.
It's time for me to take full ownership, radical responsibility, and I want to look like you or somewhat like you. What do I do, right? And so I get a lot of those guys.
I'm this guy now.
Yeah,
you got me now. But I'm just saying, like, one thing I will say to you.
Yeah.
You get a pain in your chest and you start sweating, you're going to start screaming for the doctor. That's because we're programmed. You know what I'm saying?
But I promise you, I will not do that.
Oh, you will.
No.
You will.
I will
you get that fucking pain, and that you start sweating water, like water's coming out of you. Like
no, I mean, I understand if something happens like that.
You're
but
like, get me to the hospital.
I'm so not brainwashed that I literally will not do that. But I'll probably call like one of my heart surgeon
But at that
guys.
point, you'll need a doctor.
Maybe.
A real doctor.
Maybe.
You already know the smart.
If I'm shot and I'm bleeding out, I know I need a doctor.
You know the smart guys. They're smart doctors.
Yes.
There are guys like you that have medical degrees.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So, but it's less than 5%.
Yeah. Oh no, it's probably 2%.
You're probably even on less than 1%, really, because there's so many docs that know nothing.
Literally, that's 95% of them, like herding cats.
I mean, it's like
But I mean, you think about it. Why would pharma want doctors to understand health?
You know what Nathan
wouldn't
said
make any
yesterday?
money.
There's no money in cures.
Exactly.
Zero.
Just like Chris Rock said, the money is in disease, not the medicine.
Correct.
Right?
I was on Wall Street for my whole life. I ran the biggest. I was, I oversaw the sales force for the largest life science investment bank in the world.
That's awesome.
1994.
Nice.
We were a kid. And we had Lasker Award winners, chemical, Nobel Prize for chemistry, Nobel Prize winners. And they were all listening to me.
That's awesome.
But because it's all about the money.
Yeah.
It's all about money. It's not about the education. It's not about the science. It was about the money.
Yeah.
And people are driven by two things: money and power, greed and fear.
I don't think anything has changed.
It will never change because that's how we're wired. And unfortunately, but at some point, the money's going to come to guys that look like you. And like you said, I mean, can we talk about that? I mean,
yeah, of course.
BioLongevity
it's happening
is brand
now.
new.
Yeah.
How much kind of revenue you guys doing now?
Yeah, so I mean, zero to hero. We had about 100. We had no inventory as we were waiting inventory to stock up in December, and we did 180,000. And last month we did close to 3 million in gross sales
In a month.
In 5.5 months, it took long to get there.
Right, but that's on a monthly
basis. Yeah,
that's
a month. Yeah,
that's
a month.
not an annual basis.
No, that's a month. I mean, we will be, without bragging or being conceited, we will be $100 million company within a year. 100%.
Yeah, yeah, you'll be on that rate. Yeah, I have friends that went into that business. They were in prison with me. They got out. It's all phone. They have doctors now in every state. They come to your house.
Yeah,
you don't have to go
100%.
anywhere.
Yeah.
They write the scripts. It's sent to your house. They're doing $4 million a month.
Yeah, longevity is the biggest right now investment space in the world.
Yeah, they call it a hack. It's so crazy that this is a hack.
Yep.
It's really crazy. And now they're finding out all these terrible things about these medicines they're giving us.
Yep.
Antacids are causing all these problems.
All of it.
The gut biome, what'd you call it?
The microbiome.
The gut microbiome. I have problems there.
Yeah.
And it's plagued me for 30 years.
So do we have a product? So metformin will help you 100%.
Yep.
And BioGut Pro, which is a product that we sell, which has a combination of 6 different peptides, all designed to reduce inflammation of the microbiome. That will help you
I
tremendously.
need a swag bag. Let me just tell you. I got to
For
tell you. 'Cause I'm like a walking billboard for you guys. I love this.
Awesome.
I mean, I practice this, I have now for 25 years.
Yeah.
But not to the extent that you talk about vibration and frequency. I want you to share about this because this is where I'm at now.
Awesome, man.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, that's my jam.
Tell me about it.
You.
This is new for me. So.
I love peptides and hormones and fat, longevity and anti-aging and all that. And that's kind of where I've made my bones, so to speak, online and how people know me. But frequency, consciousness, vibration, all of that stuff is like really what I like to talk about. It's really, I mean, honestly, Ross, it's the only thing that matters in the world. I mean, this planet is so effed up that if we do not teach the majority or even a small, call it minority right now, the importance of raising our consciousness, we're going to blow ourselves up again. and we've blown ourselves up so many times in the past. Is history going to repeat itself? Are we going to are we in this self-perpetuating, circle or wheel of rise and fall? I mean, look at America right now. The United States is this close to collapse.
It's disgusting.
You can't go down to Miami. I mean, in the 2 Uber rides that I've taken from Fort Lauderdale Airport to the hotel yesterday, and then from the hotel to here, 2 really awesome young people. I would say the first guy was like 35, and this girl today was 29, and she's a teacher, both African American. And they were talking about they were so grateful they didn't have to drive into Miami because of ICE raids. It's insane. There's so much craziness happening in this country right now. So, I mean, I don't want to grab it.
With $37 trillion in debt, the country, our infrastructure is crumbling. We're third world.
Literally.
But all our Congress people are wealthy.
Corrupt.
They're wealthy.
They
all got wealthy. They all got wealthy. Nancy Pelosi, $100 million.
This country is so corrupt.
And with $37 trillion in debt, our bridges are crumbling. Our hospitals suck.
Everything.
Our bridges are crumbling. The old thing was we have a great military and a very rich Congress.
The best military money can buy. I just saw something on Twitter the other day. How many Air Force planes we have? We have 15 times more planes than all the other militaries in the world combined.
Right.
Think about that.
I do know. And
it's so insane.
And now we're in space.
Yeah, I mean, it's so insane.
But thank God for that. Otherwise, we'd be talking Chinese right now because
probably
they don't like us, and we'll be we don't have our prayer rugs out because we will be doing the noon service.
We're at a crazy time right now, and just to go back to the consciousness, the frequency stuff, how that happened for me in 2019. I went to Peru with my wife and another couple, and we were literally, going through all the spiritual places, Machu Picchu, Sacsayhuaman, all the amazing places, and we actually went to Lake Titicaca, and we made my guide that was with us did an offering on the lake, and true story. No, we weren't doing any plant medicine. I could talk about that if you want. I've done many plant medicine journeys, but I was on the lake, and he did a ceremony with the Wrigley leaf, and while we were on the lake literally came alive, and all of us, because we had the water, we were standing in the lake up to here, and all of us just like instantaneously had tears in our eyes. And
what was the purpose of the trip in the first place?
Oh, we wanted, it was a bucket list to go to Machu Picchu.
But it was a spiritual journey, right?
It was, but I mean, I didn't expect what happened to me to happen.
You had an experience.
It was an incredible experience, but all 4 of us started spontaneously crying. Tears were coming down our cheeks.
Why?
And
what?
We just made an offering, or our guide made an offering on the lake. I can't really explain it. It just happened. And one of the guys that was with me was like in denial of it. He's like, what's going on? Why am I crying? Blah, blah, blah. But it moved me so much. And again, this is in 2019. At that time, my brand online was TRT, and then eventually it was TOT Revolution.com. And I had the biggest internet website for people seeking information on therapeutic testosterone.
Wow.
And so on the plane ride back, this was at the very tail end of our trip that this experience happened where we all started crying or we had spontaneous tears. I told my wife, I looked over at my wife, and again, Monica, and I said, Monica, that's it. I'm not going to become this pigeonholed TRT guy anymore. I'm going to become Jay Campbell. And Jay Campbell is going to be, my trademark name was going to be Raise Your Vibration.
I love that.
Yes.
I love this whole thing.
And so I ended up having a statement that became, pretty much famous in the podcasting circles for the next 5 or 6 years. Every podcast I did over 600 episodes. I would always end the show with saying, raise your vibration to optimize your love creation. And it became this really catchy phrase. But the reality is like on that plane ride coming home, I knew that it was more important to teach people the importance of raising their consciousness than it was the merits of hormones. Not that hormones aren't great, right? Because we know that helps people with their health. But I just knew that changing the vibrational frequency of this planet was more important than like teaching people hormones. So I didn't kill talking about hormones. I didn't kill talking about peptides or growth hormone or any of those things. I still enjoy it, but it became much more importantly on like talking to other people about consciousness. And
is it fair to say you were leveling up as a person?
100%.
You're leveling up. It was
100%.
time. You're taking care of your body now,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
You got you to optimal health.
100%.
But you're looking for more.
Yes.
As human beings, I understand that we have this natural thirst for more.
Definitely.
It's just,
Definitely.
I think, part of our DNA as a species.
Yes.
Because we were, why are we not, other species of animal, et cetera?
Yeah.
Just they eat, they sleep, They fornicate, they reproduce,
Right.
they hunt, they eat,
Yes.
it's a cycle. They're not interested in setting up communities, and some of them do. They have,
Right.
the herds of the lions and
Right.
this and that and
Yep.
jungles. But we create, we build,
Yep.
we explore.
Yep.
We want more.
Yep.
And you are leveling up. But what does this mean, frequency and vibrate? I'm talking, I sort of know.
Sure.
But I want to hear, you're an expert. You are, Jay Campbell is an expert.
Thank
and
you,
I
brother.
want to know, and you're speaking to people that know less than me.
Yeah.
Which is frightening, but
So
it's true.
basically, vibration.
I want John to understand.
Yeah. So vibration or frequency is just another word for consciousness, right? So if we look at if we look at reality from what I like to call a hyperdimensional capacity, and that means that humans are not the top of the food chain, right? If we look at let me base it out like this. Like, let's say that rocks are inanimate but still vibrate. And we do know that they do vibrate. They have a vibrational frequency. And then animals and plants also vibrate, and they vibrate a little bit higher than rocks do. And then humans, as a third density being or a third dimensional being, vibrates higher than the rocks and the plants and the trees. What is vibrating higher than us, right? Obviously, there's hyperdimensional beings, whatever you want to call them, angels, astrals, demons, reptilians, whatever you want to call it. There's higher levels. And so when you get to a level of understanding or awareness that everything vibrates and everything is conscious, then you can kind of actually understand, like, why is it important to raise your frequency so that you are not the same as the rock or the plant or the animal who can't vibrate and raise their frequency, or again raise their consciousness like you do. So, I like you said, leveling up. I absolutely 100% learned that consciousness dictates our, I won't call it survival. It's more of a thriving in this reality, because in this reality, if you are service to self, which is again seeking power, money, fame, you're not raising the frequency of all the other people that you encounter, because service to others is when you're actually living here in a way that's beneficial to all of their life. And I think you probably understand this. Everything is interconnected. There's nothing in this realm of existence that's not somewhat connected. And so when you understand that everything is interconnected, it's a lot easier to serve others versus serving self. But I think people have to understand that when you're born into this level of reality and you come out your mom's womb, you're in service to self, right? Because you have to breathe, you have to shit,
Correct.
You have to eat. But as you get older and you become more wise and you become more aware to the ways of the world, you can choose whether or not you serve self all the time, which is obviously a selfish, arrogant, power-seeking, money-grabbing, you-know-what, versus someone who's like, hey, man, we're all in this together. I want to serve other people. I want to be benevolent. I want to give out free content. I want to help people, even if you do get paid for it. I want to serve at my highest and best capacity. That's the difference between someone who's like living, call it in the power of service to others versus service to self. Some people, Christians, might say it the power of Christ. Obviously there's other religions, there's other spiritual faiths, but it's really just about, are you serving others or are you serving self? And people that serve self, in my opinion, based on my knowledge, my knowing, are not getting out of this level of reality. You are not graduating, again, if you want to be a Christian and say heaven or the next level, I just call it the different hyperdimensional densities. You cannot leave this level of reality until you have gotten to a level of awareness where you understand that serving others is more important than serving self.
Interesting. It's a very, very, it's going to be a very, very confusing answer to other people.
Yeah, because they don't understand hyperdimensionality.
Correct. They don't understand a lot of these different things. I want to break it down just for a second.
For sure.
So I understand that the reality that we see right here and now is false.
100%.
Why? You're sitting in a chair, right?
Right.
You would argue with me and say, this is a solid chair, right?
Right.
We're sitting on it, right?
Right.
Solid. It's holding us up,
100%.
right?
Yes.
If it wasn't solid, it would be, we would fall down.
Right.
But it's all your perception.
Exactly.
If you look at the chair itself that I'm sitting on right now,
Yes.
under an electron microscope, you'll see billions
Of vibrating
of
atoms.
some subatomic particles.
That's right.
Comprised of the very base core is the atom,
Exactly.
which is a nucleus made up of a proton and a neutron,
Yep.
with electrons circling
Exactly.
like close to the speed of light,
Yep.
quickly, and they're vibrating.
Yes.
It's all vibrating at some level.
Exactly.
And so this thing, while it appears to be solid, is anything
not.
but.
Exactly.
It's like wild looking.
It's held together by gravity.
Well, there's a whole bunch of things. Right? There's a whole bunch of, physics has studied this, and Einstein is, postulated. I studied Einstein.
That's awesome, man.
So I have a lot of these kind of things. And I always figured that, if I'm not that smart, but if I study with
You're smart enough, man. You understand that. There's very small people, small percentage of people that understand what you just said.
If you study what the smart people think, it helps you clarify things.
No doubt.
So I hardly have my own beliefs. If Einstein believed it, I feel like there's a very good chance it's probably true. Because he certainly knows more than I do. I don't have to use my brain, rattle my brain, to figure all these things out because it's already been figured out for me.
So let's go further what you just said, though, because it's awesome. And this is great. And people really do have to understand this stuff. So all of those vibrating atoms, which are held together by some form of cohesion, again, whether you call it gravity, whether you call it quantum physics, whether you want to call it the etheric realm, or you want to call it, what was the guy's name? He called it the ether, right?
Correct.
So all of that is held together. If we go deeper and we go level underneath that, all we are is energy.
Correct.
We are not these physical bodies.
Well, we are.
In this realm, we are physical because we're vibrating at this level.
When you take mass and you move it at a certain speed, speed of light, it becomes energy.
Right.
We're all just made of energy.
That's exactly right.
And so we really are just vibrating energy.
That's exactly right.
And we're in a container called the human body.
That's exactly right. I call it... we got to give you a pound, man. Give me that.
We got to make sure we don't move the mics. We had a big discussion about this today.
It's awesome. But we are literally vibrating atoms and oscillating waves of energy.
Correct.
That's exactly what we are.
That's fact.
That's
now we're not
true.
We're not hypothecating some crazy religious belief. I want my people to know this. It's a fact. This is scientific. This is scientific fact.
And so when you understand that your energy, then you also know that energy cannot be contained, it cannot die, it is infinite,
cannot be destroyed.
Exactly. It is eternal.
Right.
So when you understand that you are a human figure in a meat suit of flesh, but you are truly energy, and I like to say spiritual energy.
Spiritual being in a
spiritual being in a human body, you're infinite. You're an internal force, consciousness, call it soul,
whatever
spirit,
we're comprised of.
Exactly.
Technically is infinite.
Yes, 100%. So again,
it just changes form.
100%. And that's where I was going. I was in a physical body. We are limited because these bodies are finite, right?
Correct.
This body might live to 120, it might live to 150, who knows? Might die at 75, you get hit by a car, whatever. But at the end of the day, that energy that comprises that physical meat suit or that flesh avatar, whatever you want to call it, does continue on.
They say at the point of death, it's very interesting.
Yeah.
I was shocked because I just knew this intuitively to be true because when my father passed away at 48, I was 16.
Okay.
And he was like a big man, bigger than life.
Sure.
That's the way he was.
Sure.
5'11", he was 190, but he was that big personality.
Amazing, yeah.
And they let us see the body in the coffin.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they didn't have to fix him up too much. He died of a heart attack. It wasn't like he was shot or beat up or anything.
Right.
And he was in a nice little suit, and he was, in the coffin, and I was shocked at how small he looked.
Right.
Now, he had just died.
Right.
Literally, like in the Jewish faith, when we believe we don't have the wake and all that kind of thing, we put you in a plain pine box, and we get you buried immediately.
Right.
And then the family sits shiva for 7 days.
Right.
Versus a lot of the Christian faiths, you have the wake and the whole thing. But so he had just passed away. He's in this pine coffin, and I'm looking at him, and I just remember he was just little.
Yeah.
Like frail, this big man.
Because the energy was gone.
Well, they say now, the people that own funeral homes say it's a very interesting thing. And in hospitals, they weigh the bodies.
Right.
They say somewhere within seconds of the point of death, the body's like 10 pounds, 12 pounds lighter.
Yes, because the soul is now left.
But people don't say, what's a soul? But you understand the point.
Yes, of course.
So they just now coming to grips with a fact. Whatever it is,
right,
in what you call the meat suit. I love that.
Yes.
You have like the lean meat suit, but the special tailoring. But when you pass, something leaves the body because all of a sudden you're 10, 12 pounds lighter.
Yes.
It's not water because that's
right.
It stays in the body. But something leaves the body that weighs in about 10 pounds.
Yeah.
And they can't explain that. And they call that a God thing.
Yeah.
Medicine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When they can't explain something, they say it's a God thing.
Yeah.
Because God is a 3-letter word. Not that they believe in God. But,
right.
It's an easy terminology.
Yeah.
So this is this is more fact to support you where you're going now.
Yeah.
Because you're going to talk about hyperdimensional. Go ahead.
Yeah. So it's totally metaphysical, and I believe, and I think you do too. You wouldn't be telling this,
Correct,
speaking the way you are, that it is an energetic life form that is what comprises us. And again, you want to call it soul, you want to call it the spirit, chi.
Our consciousness.
Exactly.
That little voice in our head.
Consciousness,
when our eyes are closed, we're laying in bed.
Exactly. Again, our spiritual energy, it leaves, it's now moving on. So what I understand, and again, I've done a lot of meditation, I've worked with a lot of gurus and, call them, yogis and people that are very, very advanced consciously. There's not just one, there's multiple levels beyond here. And when you have, again, what I say, lived a life of, just call it, again, whether you're Jewish, Christian, Indian, doesn't matter, Muslim, when you have lived a life of service and you have given to others more than you have taken, and again, remember the Beatles song that there's only two purposes of life, to give and receive love, right? That's the two things that when you die and your physical body expires, you have that as a memory, or you have that etched on your soul, right? How much love did you give and how much love did you receive? Because you're not taking any of the physical shit. You're not taking your money, your material possessions, or any of that. It's your love that you've given and the love that you received. So if you've given a lot and received a lot, and obviously if you've given, it automatically means that you've received, right? Because that's just the vibration and the energy field that you've connected or created, then you're moving on. And where is moving on? I mean, again, there's lots of people who debate this. Again, most Abrahamic religions say you go to heaven, but if you really start getting into the quantum physics reality or the quantum physics understandings, they talk about the next level. And the next level would be fourth density. And fourth density would technically be a realm of where people are. There's two types of fourth density. There's service to self fourth density, which is evil, which what a lot of people, again, would call as hell or the astral realm. And then there's fourth density service to others, which is like heaven, or a place where you take not only your physical body, but your also energetic form, and you're biphasic. You can actually be energetic if you want, or you can be physical. Now, again, there's a lot of gurus and sages and people who have taught this kind of stuff in the past that talk about, Shangri-La. They talk about these different realms of like heaven beyond earth. But that's what my intuition, that's what my knowing, that's what my knowledge tells me, is that you go there. And again, you can't go there, Art, until you're granted access. And access comes from living a life of service. Again, if you look at Christianity or Judaism or even Islam, they have saints, right? They talk about people that live this life and
Correct,
are granted access to this next realm. And I think this next realm can be classified as anything. But if you look at everything from a hyperdimensional standpoint, again, there's just from what we understand or what is, what I've learned is that there's 7 densities. You've got first density, which again is inanimate vibration. You've got second density, which is animals and plants, which again, everything is conscious. Third density is humans. Fourth density is where we go if we graduate or if we don't graduate and we're seriously evil. We're eating people. We're harvesting, kids and doing all that. And then we go to
Hitler.
Exactly. We go to fourth density, service to self, which is like literally pure evil. Fifth density would be where we go when we die. And let's just call it is the soul's way station, maybe the zone of contemplation. You go there, you get your life review. You're sitting there and all of your, call it your soul family is there. You probably have angels or you probably have other people and you go through what they call a life review. You probably have heard this because there's been books written about this, but supposedly when you do die physically in third density, your soul goes to fifth density. And in that fifth density realm, you get a life review. And the life review, this is very fascinating stuff, is actually you in the eyes of every being that you've encountered in your previous lifetime. So depending on how you treated them, whether it was good or bad, you're seeing it from their eyes. So imagine how that's going to be if you're a bad person, service to self, who's treated people like shit your whole life.
Right.
Because now you're going to feel the pain and the suffering and the agony and whatever else that they felt. So you're now in their body. So that's what, I don't even really believe that. I kind of know that. I've read so many books about it. I've done some serious.
It's hard to really process it as.
It is, but I've done some very deep meditations and I've been shown this. So beyond that, in fifth density, again, in call it the zone of contemplation, your life review, judgment, if you want to call it, you now are being given your next quest, your next journey, and you might go back here.
Right.
You might stay at a higher level. Beyond fifth density is now when we're getting into the angelic realms. So sixth density would be pure energy consciousness. Again, archangels, Michael, all of those type of people. Again, that kind of stuff is synonymous with us. And then 7th density is the realm of God, the realm of source, the realm of pure consciousness. So it'd be like if you've ever read Dr. David Hawkins' book, he has got the map of consciousness. 7th density would be literally 1,000 level of consciousness. So you're not even energy, you're everything and connected to everything. So you feel everything, you understand everything, you know everything, you're omniscient. So that's kind of the way I look at it. Now
that's like where the ex-wives are, right? They know everything, they see everything, right?
I personally think there's levels beyond what we can even understand. But from where we are, from a conscious level of 3rd density humans, I think that's as much as we can perceive from our level of understanding. But I do believe that there are zones, there are levels of consciousness even beyond that. Like maybe there's even a source or a God or a omniscient, quote unquote, being or life force or consciousness beyond the highest levels of consciousness that we understand right now. I don't know. But my assumption is that understanding quantum physics at the level that I do, all is possible.
Well, the quantum is really a whole nother arena.
Yeah.
I had a lot of time when I was in prison.
Yeah.
And I studied quantum physics.
That's awesome, man.
Because I had time.
Me too, yeah.
And I'm watching video after video after video. We read a book. I mean, it's a whole, the quantum is coming. Although,
of course.
As humankind, we're looking to understand how we can exploit it.
Yeah.
That's like our nature, right?
Yeah, 100%.
What's in it for us?
Right.
That's just how we. But I want to get back to Jay Campbell for just the regular Earthlings.
Sure.
Because we just went to a very high level, and
I appreciate you for taking us
I
there.
absorb every word. I just want you to understand.
That's awesome. I know you do.
And it's brilliant, and the fact that you shared all that with us so openly and with such spirit.
Thank you.
It's just so I'm so grateful.
Thank you,
I'm
man.
awash with gratitude right now.
That's awesome, man.
And I just got like a real education.
Well, thank you for taking me there.
But I intuitively know what you're saying is true. As much as you
That's
know,
awesome, man.
As much as you really know, because like you say, a lot of it is we hypothecating some of it, but it's based on being learned and studying and,
of course.
and feeling some of these things, right?
Almost all of it's feeling.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people said to me, do you really believe in God? And I say, what do you mean? He said, you Ross Mandell, do you really believe in God? And I'm like, no, I know God.
Exactly.
And how do you mean? How do you know? I said, because I know him.
Yeah.
And they said, have you ever seen the wind?
Exactly.
You can't see wind.
That's God.
But you can feel wind.
100%.
Just like you feel a windstorm.
Yeah.
I feel God. Just like you see what a wind can produce.
Yeah.
I seen what God can produce.
It's the exact same thing, and I'll just say this, and we can go back to Jay Campbell, but if you've ever done 5-MeO, which is the most powerful entheogen / it's not a plant medicine, it's actually it's essentially the poison of the Sonoran desert toad. And again, it's super powerful psychedelic. If you've ever done that and you can take it from a bong hit, now they're even making capsules with. I would never do that. I would only do it in a very spiritual, shamanic, produced world where shamans give this to you, because they do this in South America, obviously. But I've done it multiple times in my life, and it takes you into what I call God consciousness or the source field. And when you are in that level of reality, you instantly know what God is, because it's a conscious frequency. It is a sound. If you think about the Bible, right, in the very beginning of the Bible, they say, first was the Word, and then the Word became sound. And the sound is, when you're under the influence of this psychedelic, this constant reverberation that you can't really explain, you can't see, because you're technically out of your body. You are the energy. You're the energy that you and I were talking about. And you're looking at your body from this point of view as the energy, and you're like, wow. And so you see and you sense, and ultimately what you said already, you feel God.
Yeah. I did.
It's an energy.
When I was a young guy, I experimented with drugs.
Sure.
I got into hallucinogenics.
Yeah.
Mushrooms, peyote,
that can take you pretty
LSD,
close.
all those type things.
Yeah.
And I had those experiences.
Yeah,
I mean,
100%.
literally. So I get it more than most people.
That's awesome.
Because I abuse drugs. And,
Sure.
But the hallucinogenics, I was particularly fond of.
Yeah.
Because I did have that sort of.
It took you into those realms.
Yeah, different worlds, literally. Yet I knew I was on Earth in some respect.
Yeah.
But I wasn't really.
Right. No, you're not. You leave your body.
For long periods of time. Now, Jay Campbell, I mean, what a fascinating guy you are. This is way beyond anything I expected.
That's awesome, man.
Because, we were talking, specifically about this sort of meat suit I'm wearing.
Yes.
And the things that I have to do to tighten up because I had a really, really rough, 15 years.
I feel you.
Fighting the government, being accused of something that didn't happen.
How much money did you spend?
Just on legal fees alone, over $3 million.
Yeah.
Hard money.
Yep.
And the whole thing cost me literally over $100 million.
Wow.
Literally.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they were judge, jury, and executioner. They came into my brokerage firm in the middle of the day. I was the CEO of 2 publicly traded companies that I founded and funded, worth about $450 million, with $200 million cash, no debt, and we were in compliance with everything. And they just came at me with full force, and it's because I was a disruptor in that business.
That's it. Yeah.
I was a disruptor, and I intend to be a disruptor. In what I'm doing now, and
awesome.
You and a lot of people are going to see.
I'm the same as you, man.
In the next 60 to 90 days, some things that I'm going to reveal that are going to shake up a lot of people in the influencer celebrity space.
Well, then I'm in the right place at the right time because I am 100% a disruptor too.
Everything is meant to happen the way it happens.
So I have a statement that is, all is happening divinely as it is intended, always and in all ways.
I love it. And right now, this meeting is not accidental. It's
awesome.
not. This was written before both of us were born.
For sure.
I get that.
I 100% know that is true. That's not a belief.
Yeah.
It is a knowing because, again, if we understand that everything is happening divinely as it is intended, always and in all ways, our resistance to that awareness is futile.
Well, it is futile.
God has the direction and the control of everything. And if we don't realize that, which most people don't, we have resistance to it, then we don't have flow in our life. And so once we're out of that resistance to that knowing, that awareness, everything is flow.
See, I learned that there's nothing in this world but you and God.
Exactly.
Just close your eyes.
100%.
Close your eyes.
100%.
It's just you and God. There's nothing
100%.
else. And when you and I walk into the exact same room at the exact same time and we open our eyes, we both see something different. We both have a different experience.
No doubt.
You understand?
Yeah.
Because it's just us and God.
I agree.
And that's what we experience in our meat suit with our senses.
Yes.
But up here, it's a whole different story. Like you say, there are levels of consciousness. So, but you have learned as to me, a relatively young man.
Yes.
When I hit my prime like 55.
Awesome.
So you got a good year ahead of you coming up.
Nice.
It's downhill from there, but it's just I had the weight of the United States government on me.
Yeah.
But to optimize your physical being.
Yes.
And that's what I really want to grab today. But the fact that you are operating at with frequency and vibrational frequency and consciousness, you are now next level in the optimization process. Because to me, that's up here. That's your mind. That's taking yourself to new levels. I think before most people, even ponder, that journey.
Yeah.
That they should do is they should get their physical house in order.
Yeah.
Because, you like Arnold just said, and he said it many times, but I just saw a video of him. He was on The View yesterday.
Yeah.
You only have one body.
Exactly.
You have one body. You don't get two or three. This is your journey. It's your body. This is your experience. It's your life. It's not a dress rehearsal. So I know I want to take advantage of the fact that we have you and learn how I can continue to improve.
Yeah.
At 68, I'm not terrible, but I'm on a journey. I want to get it back.
Sure.
And I was talking to John prior to him and his wife got the COVID shot, and he feels a sort of a weakening in his legs.
Yeah.
And I said, you got to get out and walk, and you got a great gym in your community, and you got to take it right. So you work out how often?
I lift weights 3 days a week.
Tell us about that.
Yeah,
first.
for
Tell
sure.
us about that.
So my lifting is what I call to positive muscle failure, and of course I have courses on this. I train with my wife, and we're never in the gym for longer than 45 minutes. So I usually do, and again I rotate back and forth every 6 weeks. I change, but it's either a full body, so I train the body as a core Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or I do Monday, Tuesday, take Wednesday, Thursday off, train Friday, Saturday, and do a split. And my splits, so again, core would be chest, back, legs, arms, abs, a split would be chest, back, legs, biceps, delts, traps, triceps would be my split. And then on my fourth day, if I chose to train a fourth day, I would come in and I would hit a weak body part, right? Or an underappreciated or just a part that I thought was lagging. But normally, for the most part, year round, I train 3 days a week.
And that's what we would call resistance training.
Of course, weightlifting, resistance
and you
training.
go to you believe you go to failure on
Exactly. So positive muscle failure, it's a great question, Ross. Positive muscle failure is when you literally you cannot do another rep unassisted. And again, your reps should be in good form, good cadence, control, no ego, no momentum. Remove those from your training.
What about rest between sets? That's a big thing.
So yeah, so rest between sets depends on what I'm doing. If I want to be like super lean and super shredded, and it's the summer right now, so this is usually the leanest I am around the year, my rest intervals are no longer than 40 seconds.
40 seconds. Wow.
Yeah.
That's nothing, bro.
Yeah, no. So I mean, like you can't, when you train at the intensity that I train at, again, call it positive muscle failure or PMF.
Well, you're actually doing this for many, many years. So the average person.
I've only been training this way with this kind of rest intervals for probably the last 7 or 8 years. So before that, I was
highly
training,
advanced.
Exactly. Before that, I was training with like bodybuilders type style where you do like 6 to 8 or 8 to 10 or 10 to 12 reps. But now I train 20 reps or more.
Really?
Yeah. So when you train at that rep level, a lot of people think, oh, that's like, call it pussy weight, or you're not training heavy enough because it's too high a reps.
It's still failure.
This is important. When you train 20 reps or higher, you hit all 3 energy systems. You hit the aerobic glycolytic, you hit the anaerobic, and then you hit the phosphogenic, which is the short rest fiber. So what people don't understand is you got to hit all the muscle fiber types when you're training to truly develop and build a world-class physique. And a lot of guys, especially bodybuilder, powerlifter types, they don't hit all the different energy levels because they're training at too low reps. So when you train at higher rep ranges and have shorter rest intervals, you're hitting all those energy systems. So when you constantly, repetitively hit those energy systems, you're going to build the biggest, strongest physique that you can relative to your individual genetics. Obviously, the drugs that we talk about, the therapeutic formulations and stuff that we use help, but at the end of the day, your training is most important. Now, I also do cardio every single day. So Tuesdays.
Whoa, slow down. You do cardio every day?
Oh, yeah, every day.
Even when you do your resistance training?
Yes, because my post-workout lifting is 15 to 20 minutes of cardio. And
post-workout
cardio.
Cardio.
So as soon as my lifting is done.
Always at the end, you do the cardio.
Exactly. It's 30 to 35 minutes. Right. Exactly. 30 to 35 minutes of training. Immediately go onto a bike or a treadmill or a Stairmaster, and I do 15 to 20 minutes because guess what? My heart rate is already elevated from my training, and I don't have to warm up. I go right into a fat-burning zone 2, sometimes zone 3. Call it HIT, high intensity training of cardio, and it's only 15 to 20 minutes. Now on my off days,
walk on a steep incline.
Yeah,
is that
steep
fair to
incline.
say?
I like to ride a bike, so
Okay.
mostly stationary bike. My wife likes to do treadmill. Stairmaster or treadmill.
Right.
So it's one of those 3. But the important thing for guys our age and older is you cannot do burst or high impact because it'll fuck up our joints.
It's ridiculous.
Horrible.
I already have joint issues.
Yeah, so nobody can do that. So
Right.
it's got to be what I call moderate to high intensity, but not ballistic.
What's the heartbeat range? 120 to 130?
Good question. Exactly. Somewhere between 115 and 135. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You want to never go over a level where you can't have a conversation.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're doing intervals, let's say post workout, and you're eating
Right.
a lot of carbs that day, then you could probably get your heart rate up into the 150s and maybe even the low 160s if you're conditioned. And at that point, you're really not. You're going to be out of breath if you're talking.
Correct.
But most of the time, between 115 and 135, you can have a conversation. You just might be a little winded.
No, I get it 100%. But of course now, this is once you're going. So I find myself now, I'm first coming back, getting myself back in shape, just getting my strength back. So I understand, one week I train for strength. The next week I just train, a lot of reps.
Yep.
And maybe 70% of my 6 rep max, that kind of thing.
So at your age, I would not train for strength. I would eliminate that.
Well, I want to get a little strength back. You need a little strength.
Yeah, but you're already strong. I see your forearms. I see your arms.
Because it's coming back. I'm coming back now.
Right. But be very cautious training.
No, I am.
Heavy
When I tell
range.
you for strength, it's pathetic almost what I'm doing.
Well, yeah, but you know what I mean. Like lower rep ranges put the body at risk. And also at your age, my age,
100%.
Anyone over the age of 50, does not have synovial fluid in the joint capsules.
Correct. I get
So
that.
one slide or slip or squat,
100%.
dead.
The aches
you're
and
injured.
pains
Yeah.
are brutal. The injuries
Exactly.
I get. No, I'm not. I'm only doing machines right now.
Awesome. Yeah, and you only should do machines.
Right. I'm really trying to
full leverage, full
right.
control,
Just be
blast
very,
the muscle.
very careful.
Exactly.
And
Yeah, and
controlling.
machines allow you to target the muscle without having to target the joints.
Right. And you know, there's another thing. You can never out-train a bad diet. So let's talk about your diet.
Exactly.
Right? Because
so the old statement of, lifting carves the physique. I'm sorry, lifting builds the muscle, dieting carves the physique. You cannot look good if you don't eat right.
correct. That's
Doesn't
it. No matter what.
Exactly. It doesn't matter how strong you are, how much drugs you're using. If you eat like shit, you're going to look like shit.
Correct.
Bottom line. So there's a lot of ways to eat. There's, fasting, which I love fasting.
Do you do the intermittent fasting?
I've written 3 books on it.
Oh,
right?
I didn't. I had no idea. You're a best-selling author, by the way, an international best-selling author. I want you guys to hear this.
So I've written.
I didn't just take this guy off the street.
So I've written 3 books. 2 of them are majorly famous international bestsellers. One is called The Metabolic Blowtorch Diet. The other one is called 30 Days to Shreds, which is my newest book.
Okay.
And any person, I have a book coming out next on GLP-1 peptides, which is also going to be an absolute masterpiece.
I love it.
30 Days to Shreds is a book that any person, regardless of fitness level, regardless of age, regardless of conditioning, can pick up and lose the most amount of body fat in the healthiest amount of time in the shortest time possible. 100%. You just have to fast, right? You have to take your body 24 to 30 hours without food, drink water, drink electrolytes, take magnesium, take whatever.
How often?
3 to 4 days a week. So you're literally
Whoa,
every
slow
other
down
day.
now.
Yeah, you're
slow down a second here.
Every other day, you're not eating
At all.
at all. I mean, if you're
And you're working out too, or
someone
not?
like you right now.
Right.
In 30 days, I could get you into the best shape of your life, 100%. I'm looking at your physique. I've already assessed your body. I know you have a lot of leftover muscle.
Yeah,
I could absolutely, in 30 days, get you to be shredded, 100%. But it's discipline.
And I might end up killing you.
No, you won't. You honestly won't. I mean, I will obviously give you certain drugs and supplements that will literally eliminate the hangriness. You got to clean up the microbiome, kill what's down there. Because people that can't fast have shit growing in their stomach.
I get it.
And they freak out and they get hangry and they have all those effects and they blow up. But once you kill that stuff growing in your stomach, you can fast all day. And again, dude, white people from Northern Europe like us, we're hunter-gatherers. We can easily go 30 to 40 hours without food.
There's no question. I've done it. I've done it. And you know what? At some point, after like 7 or 8 hours, I start to feel good. I love it.
Exactly. So, I mean, I
love it.
The bottom line is, if you can go, and I tell people this.
To conduct my life, it'd be very hard.
I tell people this all the time. If you can go 2 days a week, 20 hours without food, again, it's statistically proven that you'll live into your 80s. Because when you fast for that amount of time, your body is
super healing,
eliminating senescent
super
cells.
Healing.
Exactly.
Super healing.
Through the process of autophagy and hormesis, the body is getting rid of all the gunk, all the metabolic buildup, all the AKGs, which are glycolylated end products from eating carbohydrates for years. And again, even if you're eating clean and you're eating fruit and vegetables, you still have glycolylated end products building up in your body. So fasting removes them. Think of fasting as a cellular fumigation. The problem is that intermittent fasting that most people think, which is 14 to 16 hours, is not fasting. You have to go 18 to 20 hours without food. And that's when you see the fight or flight hormones being stimulated, mobilizing the free fatty acids in your stubborn areas, which, guys, is right here, right? This is a guy's stubborn area.
Correct.
And when you mobilize all of those free fatty acids through long fasting intervals, you can't be fat. It literally kills it all. Now, there's obviously some drugs like metformin, a couple other supplements like dihydroberberine, which will suppress all of that. Oh my God, I'm hungry. I got to eat type shit where you can get through those long fasting intervals. But I'm telling you, 30 days of doing that program, you will literally be able to fast the rest of your life. Now, dude, Ross, there's actually something out there right now, which I'll talk about. It's called the sugar diet. And people are freaking out. It's a fad. You can Google this. It's the biggest thing out there right now. I'm actually doing the sugar diet right now. So I'm a longtime faster, a famous writer, author of fasting books, and I'm doing the sugar diet right now because I'm experimenting with it. And I will tell you this, it works just as well as fasting. I won't go into the details because
I want to hear. What is the sugar diet?
I won't go into the details, but basically imagine going 20 hours without food, and then instead of going 20 hours without food, eating nothing but fruit and eating unlimited amounts of fruit, but not eating protein or fat while you're eating the fruit. So essentially, instead of fasting and not eating anything but drinking water, now you're just eating fruit or fruit juice for 20 hours.
I could see that working.
It does work.
I could see it.
Well, what happens and I don't want to go over the head of the audience.
You're not growing muscle or anything like that.
You don't lose muscle, but you're not going to get bigger.
Right.
But you can if you want to modify it and add certain things to it. But if you just eat fructose and glucose from, again, fruit or fruit juice, the body upregulates an enzyme called FGF21, which is fiberglass growth factor 21. And fiberglass growth factor 21 incinerates visceral body fat. So the more of this fruit that you eat, again, in the absence of fat and protein, the faster your metabolism becomes. So if you remember back in the 80s and the early 90s, they used to have a diet called the Fruitopian diet. You probably remember there were a bunch of wacko Hollywood celebrities doing it.
Yeah, I do.
And you would get leaner. They did not understand the molecular dynamics behind it because we couldn't see at the cellular level. We didn't have the technology, but now we do. And so we understand that FGF21 is this incredible, again, fiberglass growth factor that incinerates visceral body fat. And you create it by eating fruit. Now, here's the thing. You can't really go longer than 48 to 60 hours, similar to a normal fast, without then instituting or introducing some protein and some better carbs. And the better carbs would be starch. So example, this is what I did. Since Sunday night, I've eaten nothing but fruit and fruit juice. This morning, I trained at my hotel, which was a shitty gym, but I got a still good workout in. I just did a full body with dumbbells. It was just a tiny little weight room there, but I did 15 sets.
Wow.
For everything.
I get it.
And then I went back up to my room and took a shower, and I started eating white rice and shrimp. Right. So when you break, that was my starch and my protein. But the previous 3 days or 2.5 days, 60 hours,
nothing but fruit and fruit juice.
Dude, all I ate was pineapple, raisins, apples. At the airport yesterday, I ate some dried apples, but zero fat, zero protein, and nothing but sugar.
And I want to say your muscles are popping, bro. I can't take my eyes off you.
I know, but this is the reglycogenation. Yeah, this is the reglycogenation right now. So anyway, this is awesome that you and I are having this conversation.
And when you have those carbs, your body's.
Exactly.
I see you like.
So you're seeing me right now because I just introduced
I get it. The starch
and shrimp, right? But so then just to keep this going, you finish this throughout the day.
Okay.
So I'll eat like this the rest of the day, and then tomorrow I'll go right back to the
So you'll have more rice with some sort of protein.
Exactly. And the protein that you want to eat, you don't want to have leucine. So you don't want chicken, you don't want beef, and you don't want turkey.
I was wondering why you had shrimp.
You want fish. You want fish. You want white fish, shrimp, scallops, stuff like that. No fat, right? So it's just pure lean protein, but not leucine. So you can't eat turkey, you can't eat beef, and you can't eat chicken. So it's basically white fish and shrimp. Because leucine deregulates.
It's amino acid, everybody.
So leucine deregulates FGF21.
I get it.
So you still want FGF21.
The opposite of what you want.
Exactly. Right. So then again, you would do this on Friday and Saturday, or Thursday, Friday, which I'll do. I'll go back to it. And then Saturday morning, I'll do a long cardio session in the morning.
What is long cardio session?
I might train. A long cardio session is like 60 minutes, zone 2. So riding my bike.
Okay, that's real cardio.
Yeah, probably getting my heart rate up to like 125, 130.
Oh, you keep it steady. It's not too much.
Exactly. I'll read my book.
It's real fat burning and everything.
100%. I'll read my book. Exactly. I'm burning free fatty acids at rest. And then at around noon or 11:30, whatever it is, I'll break my fast again and I'll start eating white rice and frickin' shrimp again.
Are you driving your wife crazy? I just want to know.
Because my wife is actually watching me do this and she wants to observe how it works and how lean and ripped I get. So there's a guy, shout out to him, Mark Bell, who I should introduce you to, and you should bring him on your podcast because he's a brilliant guy. He's a very, very well-known guy in this industry, but he is the guy that really brought this to the mainstream about 3 months ago. And he's been on a couple of live streams with me, and we've been talking about this. But I finally have stopped traveling enough, other than this little episode, to really spend time at home and eat fruit.
Where is home? Tampa?
It's in Tampa, yeah. So, but this is not, I mean, by all stretches of imagination, I recommend most people who are not super advanced to just do a fasting diet. But if you really want to go down the sugar fasting path or sugar fasting protocol, you can definitely do this in absence.
So 2 days a week, you suggest that I have nothing but, let's say, water?
Water, magnesium, and electrolytes. So you can drink like Propels, from grocery stores. Any kind of like sugar-free flavored water with electrolytes is good.
Okay, you recommend Propel? Is that
I love Propel because I like the taste.
What flavor do you like?
I like grape.
Okay.
I like grape. But there's other ones.
No, I get it. I get it.
But I mean, I'll give you the book, after we leave here today, and you and I can talk. I'll give you my cell. And you can call me and we can talk.
I'm very excited.
I'm telling you, dude, in 30 days,
I
can
can do
get
that.
you to back to where you are.
I can do that, but I need some of the other,
Oh, the other stuff
supplements
too, of course.
will help me.
Yeah,
will help me with that
100%.
because I'm going to be a model. I'm going to do this. I'm going to take my shirt off in 20.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah.
I'm going to do it on camera.
No,
I'd like to see you with
you
your shirt off.
100%.
Can I get you? Come on, let's go. let me see what you
He
got.
wants me to take my shirt off. Okay,
Yes,
I'll
I
take my
do.
shirt
On
off.
camera. Let me see what you got. 50. Oh, Jesus Christ. Turn around. Let me
Here we
see.
go, guys.
Let me see.
My shirt is off.
Jesus Christ.
I'm definitely a ripped man.
54 years old. I mean, you are like a friggin' billboard, bro. This is amazing. Sit down with your shirt off. I want put the microphone. Yeah, we'll conduct the rest of this interview like
Okay, I'll do it in my shirt
I just, there's nothing like the power of example.
Yeah.
Experience
Definitely.
and the power of example are the greatest teachers in the world.
Definitely.
Anybody that doesn't believe what this man is preaching right now, are you blind?
Right.
Are you not entertained? I mean, look, you are really it's amazing.
This is, by the way, the first time I've ever been shirt off on a podcast, but I appreciate Art asking me to do this, and I have no problem
we do
demonstrating.
this
is
we
good
accomplish
shit,
a
man.
lot
Yeah.
of firsts on this podcast.
This is good
I
shit,
want you to
man.
understand this
Very
is
good
great
shit.
stuff. You are considered an expert in hormone optimization, peptides, but I'm going to take it a step further.
Sure.
Because look at this. Look how open-minded you are.
Yep.
That you're going, you're going in a new direction.
Yep.
There's something that makes physiological sense to you.
Yep.
And so you are using you're doing your own clinical research, literally, and shared
Yes,
it with
sir.
all of us.
Yes, sir.
And displaying the goods.
Yep.
You got a nice tan from yesterday, I see.
A little bit of sun this morning. Yeah.
Yes, and the Tampa lifestyle.
Yes, sir.
And it's just, you look great, bro.
Thanks, man.
It's like, there's nothing you can do. I can't. How long are you going to, this fast, you're looking to cut even a little more?
So
more
I'm going to
shredded?
be in Mexico by next Thursday, so not tomorrow, but the week after. So my goal is to get down to about 5% body fat, take some pictures and then just for my audience and my email list show what is possible in 10 to 14 days on the sugar diet.
Because I want you to know, John will not use Photoshop on this man. I want you to understand, this is raw, right? In fact, I want you to Photoshop, put some fat on the guy. I mean, it's really fantastic. So, because when you're telling me, I got to consider this fasting diet, I want to do that.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I fasted. I was doing intermittent fasting. I had no problem with that. In fact, my body seemed to really go for that.
Yep.
But when I did my fasting, the thing is I was in prison. We were doing all these things, fasting twice a week.
Yeah.
But you have no real food to compare.
Right.
Then you're eating shit. You're eating
the food
potato
is
chips.
fucking
and potato.
cockroach.
You
Yeah.
have no idea. The lowest quality.
No, I understand. Believe me, I didn't tell you that. I was only in jail for 5.5 days, but long enough to know.
It's horrible.
It's bad. And I was in Las Vegas and Clark County.
I didn't know
Detention Center.
bologna sandwiches were green. No one ever told me that bologna could be green.
Dude, the first and only time that I was in jail, the first day I passed because the food was so shitty that was coming around with the mess hall, because they just
It's
hit
inedible.
you every 8 hours. It's inedible. And then the second time I wasn't fasting. I was actually at that time of my life, I was actually doing some male physique shows. And so I was like actually in the middle of prep. I was so hungry, I just ate it. But I remember like the first time the guy was like, "Hey man, you don't want your mess?" I was like, "Yeah, take it."
Right, exactly. They're
But then
so
the second
excited.
time it comes around, you're like, "Okay, I'm starving.
starving.
I gotta eat this shit."
I was there for
It was nothing. It was either starve to death or eat shit.
I was facing 12 years, which is a 10-year sentence.
How long were you in for?
I was in federal custody for 9 years, 4 months.
Wow.
112 months, but I did
That's
about
crazy.
7.5 inside.
Wow.
For real.
Yeah. Here in Florida or where?
I was at the FCI Miami.
Wow.
I was at the federal prison camp in Miami.
Amazing.
Home confinement. Back to the federal detention center in Miami.
Unreal.
And the camp in Coleman, Florida. And then back to home confinement for a year.
Wow.
It's been a crazy journey. I'm only
That's
out.
awesome though. But look at you now. I mean,
Yeah.
you're appreciative and
Correct. I'm
Changed
only
your
out.
whole life.
I'm only out 18 months. Really
Good for you,
crazy.
man.
Actually, 17 months. Is working on 18 right now.
that's awesome, man.
So how do people find Jay Campbell? How do we find you?
Yeah, the easiest way is through my website, which is now in the top 3 websites in the world for peptide, hormones, fasting.
Wow.
Yeah,
I get it, though. Look at 'em.
60,000. It gets 60,000. Last month was a record month. We had 60,000 unique visitors. Thankfully I have a lot of great people who write for me and copywriters. I have an amazing SEO guy, but it's very, very,
And
very,
you're a genius marketer. You told us digital marketing.
I learned. I won't say genius, but I'm good.
I get it.
I really learned and cut my teeth in the digital marketing space in automotive, and then got into real estate, and now whatever this is. People ask me, Art, what do you do? They ask my daughters what I do, and I tell people I'm an online gypsy.
Well, you're an educator.
I am an educator.
You have educated me, and
thank you.
I'm someone that people consider, believe it or not, in my little world, they think of me as very advanced.
You are.
Because of my my understanding
and
of
experiences.
Different things. But
sure.
I feel like we have a real expert in the house today.
Thank you, man.
And so jaycampbell.com.
Yep.
You're on every social media platform.
And that's Jay Campbell 333. So you can find me on Twitter. The two biggest ones that I'm on for the most part is Twitter and Instagram.
I get it.
But you can find me on YouTube.
You have a podcast?
I had a podcast for 10 years, and it was a top 1% in the world podcast, and we talked about consciousness and all those great things. But to be very honest with you, in September, I what they call sunsetted it last year because I knew I was going to blow up BioLongevity Labs. And I just don't have the time to interview people anymore. So now I do this kind of stuff, which is guest on other people's amazing podcasts.
We're going to send you the clips, and we're going to send you the raw footage, and
for sure
we'll promote it. This is something you have to help promote because I'm a dope when it comes to marketing.
Yeah, no, and for sure
that's not my thing. We're just starting out in this whole world.
Well, I mean, honestly, like I have a really big live show that I do on Sunday nights now, and I would love for you to come on and tell your story.
Invite me, I'm coming on.
Yeah,
I love it. I would love to.
100%.
I would love to do it. I mean, you are a serious young man. You're not so young to some people, but to me, 54, oh, bro.
Yeah, thank you.
If I show you pictures of me when I was 55, you're like, bro.
Yeah, you look like me.
I was bigger than you.
I'm sure.
It was crazy.
Awesome.
I was fighting. I was dosing up like crazy. And you know what I mean.
Yeah, of course.
You learn how to manipulate your own musculature.
100%.
And I'm just now coming back at it, so it's very exciting.
Awesome, man.
But what you shared with us about frequencies, hyperdimensionality. I mean, the things that I heard today were just amazing because you're talking about optimizing the entire human experience.
Exactly.
That's what life is about. This is what I want. I want, while I'm here in this meat suit on my journey, I want to optimize my life. Exactly. I want to optimize my health. I want to optimize the experience I can give to my daughters.
Exactly.
And I'm dying to be a grandfather. Skylar, Sydney, come on, get busy, girls.
Plenty of time, girls. Plenty of time.
But optimizing is a great word.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and honestly, one of my mentors, shout out to him, Dr. Gerald Clark, used to tell me that when he first started reading my initial books like 11 or 12 years ago, and by the way, he died in 2021, he said, Jay, I see you as a great human optimizer. You really look at the body. You really look at the body from a mind, body, soul level. And he's like, you are optimizing all levels. And he's like, a lot of people know how to optimize the body. A lot of people know how to optimize the mind. But I really look at you as somebody who's optimizing all three levels.
Correct. That's the key, because the brain rules everything. But you're not limited to just the body. You'd be a real coach. I have a quick question because I had Nathan here yesterday.
Of course, love Nathan.
Tell me about nitric oxide. Do you agree with him?
Of course, 100%. I use those nitric oxide strips. I wrote an article supporting his products in 2021. In fact, when him and I first met, it was in 2020 during COVID. He told me about the unique potential of his strips and his lozenges to enhance Cialis. So if you're a Cialis user, and by the way, I'm a very huge advocate of Cialis for life extension. 5 milligrams improves endothelial function, which endothelial function is the sensitivity of our tissues at the cellular level. If you take his strips or his lozenges, it will actually enhance or expand the dilation of the penis while you're on Cialis.
I'm very excited by this because I'm 68 and I have a date tomorrow night.
Awesome.
And he sent me a little package.
Yeah, dude. To make sure you take a stick in your water about an hour before and then pop a lozenge or even two right before you think you're about to get it on.
Oh, boy, if I'm lucky enough.
I keep them right in my my drawer next to my bed.
Why not?
Of course.
Talk about optimizing your experience.
I mean, his like I said, I mean, his stuff is designed to optimize or to enhance Cialis. So, an aging man, aging women should all be using it.
I understand that the nitric oxide, this gas in the body, produces it allows increased oxygen.
It's in all cells. Nitric oxide is in all cells,
I mean,
but we're so...
I didn't know any of these things.
Yeah, so most people have no nitric oxide production because of inflammation.
Correct.
Because of mitochondrial damage. I mean, all
a number of things.
Yes. I mean, we're living in a contaminated world.
Crazy.
It's so contaminated.
It's
so
crazy.
by changing your lifestyle, living insulin controlled, cleaning yourself out, hopefully you're doing some fasting, whether it's sugar fasting or regular fasting, and then adding in nitric oxide supplements in the form of what he sells at shout out to no1.com and no2.com, which are his sites. Combined with a microdose of Cialis, you're going to get much better function.
Well, I am extremely excited by all this. Is there any ground we haven't covered today?
No, I would just say that if you're in the marketplace to buy peptides, to buy small molecules, to buy bioregulators, which obviously are the future of what I call quantum health, head over to biolongevitylabs.com and either use your code. We'll just say your code is going to be RM or Ross Mandell, one of those two, both of those.
Okay.
We'll make both of those work and save yourself 15% off of any of our products.
You hear that, guys? I'm so excited. I'm going to be the first customer because it was a privilege, and I'm looking forward to have you on again.
Awesome.
Because once I want to jump into this a little bit.
Sure.
That's the kind of guy I am.
Awesome.
My intuition tells me that everything you shared with us today is smack on, bro.
Thank you, brother.
So thank you. And Sunday night you do a live, you said?
Yes, sir.
Is that on Instagram?
It's on everywhere. Instagram,
Really?
YouTube.
All right.
Twitter, all those places.
I'm going to make myself available whenever you're ready for me.
Awesome, man. I will definitely have you on.
Jay, thank you so much. What a privilege.
Thank you, Ross.